Welcome listeners to G Radio Gator. Our host Melissa Key is me, and in the studio later we will have fellow Gatorade enthusiasts Amanda Wood, Matt Brown, and Cesar Robles. First we will be hearing from VP of Product Development Michael Frazier. On the phone we have Michael Frazier, who is in charge of product development for Gatorade. Is your product a good or a service or an idea?
Gatorade was initially made not for sale but rather for the University of Florida Gators football team. In 1965, the University of Florida assistant coach met with the university physicians to determine why the players were suffering from heat-related illness. Assistant coach Dwayne Douglas was baffled why his players were losing so much weight during practice while urinating so little. The answer: the players' electrolytes were completely out of balance. Their blood sugar was low and their total blood volume was low. The impact on the body of this upheaval in chemistry was profound. University physicians created a precisely balanced carbohydrate electrolyte beverage that completely replaced key components while sweating. The beverage was named Gatorade. Since Gatorade wasn't initially made for sale, it was indirectly marketed to other schools by word of mouth and publicity. The rest was history.
Let's next discuss how Gatorade manages their product. In terms of the product life cycle, Gatorade has several products in their product line, G Series. Their product line consists of products for the athlete to prime, perform, and recover. Since being introduced to the general public in the late 60s and early 70s, Gatorade has had a large market share in the sports drink industry. Gatorade has chosen to target the everyday athlete, and in this target market, Gatorade can be considered as a mature product in the stage of life cycle. Their commercials are reminder-oriented, and they stress the benefits of their product, better results, while competing in an athletic arena. So we have a question from a listener wanting to know how their stage of life cycle impacts their product in terms of marketing activity. That's a really good question. In an effort to revisit their innovativeness and product development, Gatorade recently invested $30 million in expanding the product line. In order to recover a lot of their expenses, they have decided to distribute their product intensely. And because they are a product that has immediate benefits and is low learning convenience price and low relative price. An interesting question that was just asked to us was how Gatorade recently repositioned themselves. Gatorade recently invested $30 million into research and development to reposition themselves in the minds of consumers. They introduced their Prime Performance Recover product line, and they successfully repositioned themselves in the mind of consumers as being innovative and scientifically based. Gatorade has a very distinct brand personality. They have chosen to use athletic endorsers for their products, and they also focus on being strong. Because of this strong brand personality, they've also managed to have a very strong brand equity, which has allowed them to have very strong loyalty from their customers, and they actually have recent studies that showed that the users of Gatorade have a very strong emotional connection to their product. One of the things that hurt them the most with their recent repositioning strategy was changing the packaging to only have the letter G on it. Prior to this, they had the word Gatorade. A lot of consumers were confused by this. Joining us in the studio now we have Amanda Wood, who is going to be discussing with us some of Gatorade's pricing strategies. First off, why don't you share with me a little bit about Gatorade's pricing strategy in comparison to its competitors?
So Gatorade is actually priced really well compared to its competition. It's currently in the top 4 selling sports drinks. So it's Gatorade, Powerade, Vitamin Water, and Propel. And if you were to go into the supermarket today, say Safeway, and looked on the shelf, these are kind of the prices that you'd see. So Gatorade for a 20-ounce bottle is about $149 to around $169 averagely priced. And then Powerade, also for a 20-ounce bottle, is a little bit cheaper, ranging about $137 to maybe $147, right in there. And Vitamin Water for a 20-ounce would be a little more expensive, around $169 to $189. And then Propel, also for a 20-ounce bottle, is the most expensive, ranging around $189 to $2. And so from the results, you can see that Gatorade's actually priced really well in comparison to its products. It's right in the middle.
What sort of pricing policy does Gatorade implement in their product?
Yes, currently Gatorade is using a combination of odd-even pricing and bundle pricing. So it starts with the odd-even pricing by pricing it at, say, $149 or $169 or $199. And so that way it gives the consumer this idea that they're spending less money when in reality it's only, a penny. And then it's also in combination with the bundle pricing, because with Gatorade's new G Series line, this is a 3-step process where you buy a drink that you drink before the game, then you drink one during the game, and then you drink one after the game. And so when you do that, it's actually a really cool process for your body. But the price for one G Series per bottle would be about $245 per bottle. But if you buy all 3 together, like in the combination to use the whole process, it ranges about $635.
Could you also share with us about some of the differentiation that Gatorade uses for its products in comparison to its competitors?
Yes. Gatorade's main point of difference that they've been using for the past few decades is that they're the original sports drink. So when Gatorade was developed specifically for the Florida Gators back in the early 60s, they were able to start off in the market being like, we're the only one. This is your option. You drink Gatorade or you drink water. Gatorade has been able to revamp and reevaluate their product, and we're the only company that has this step-by-step process of you drink this before the game, you drink this during the game, and you drink this after the game. So this way you stay hydrated and you stay healthy and you stay active. And so that's a really big way that they've been differentiating from other products.
Matt Brown, who is going to be discussing with us the distribution strategy for Gatorade. Could you tell me what your distribution channel is for Gatorade?
Okay, so Gatorade, they use both direct and indirect channels of distribution, but for majority of their sales, they go through a distribution company, which would label them as indirect channels because they use intermediaries. And for a small percentage of their sales through their website, they do use direct distribution.
Could you explain to me the electronic marketing channel? Do they have one?
Yes, the first one would be on their website. The second electronic marketing channel they have is through intermediaries on Amazon. So one of the intermediaries would be the grocery and gourmet food or health and personal care, and these are basically stores that are selling Gatorade through Amazon.
Do you have a dual distribution strategy for Gatorade?
We do have a dual distribution strategy, and that is they distribute to schools and universities as well, but mostly they focus on their indirect channels of distribution.
Thank you. Does your product exhibit intensive, exclusive, or selective distribution strategy, and why?
So Gatorade uses an intensive strategy of distribution because they are so well known.
In terms of supply chains, how does your product get to its final customers?
So the supply chains can be complicated due to shipping it overseas or flying it overseas, but basically for one in the US, for example, they make and they package it in their own factories, and then from those factories they have their own trucks that pick up the product and take it to their own warehouses. And from those warehouses, they use they have under contract with a distribution company that comes and picks up the product from their warehouses and brings it to the distribution warehouses. And from there, the distribution company either flies, ships, or on ground takes it to the intermediaries where the product gets to the ultimate customer.
Thank you. And could you also describe us your marketing communication strategy and your integrated marketing communications campaign?
The main one that they've been having since the very beginning is the Is It In You campaigns, which I'm sure everyone's familiar with. You've seen them since you were a little kid. They have famous sports stars, athletes, playing sports while they're sweating out like different Gatorade colors, and at the end you see a little Gatorade lightning bolt, and then Is It In You.
And I understand they also have one going on called Win From Within, which is a fairly new strategy that they're using.
Yes, they also have a new strategy, Win From Within, which is kind of a similar idea that when you drink the Gatorade, it's in you.
Does your product use a push or pull strategy?
It uses a pull strategy because since it's so well known, they don't need to get the attention of the intermediaries because they already have it. What they need to do is basically remind the consumer that, hey, we're here, and then that way the consumers demand a Gatorade.
We have Caesar here, who is going to discuss some of the promotional strategies that Gatorade is using. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good. Could you discuss with us some of the promotional strategies?
They actually try and use pretty much all of them. For their advertising, they actually use 2 forms of like an advertising, which is both offline and online. Since they're like the official drink for the NBA, AVP, PGA, MLB, MLS, and other professional like organization teams, they have that like upper advantage of using professional athletes in their commercials to make them seem like more appealing for the customer.
And do you guys use public relations at all?
Yes, they do. They actually do. They sponsor a Player of the Year for many high schools, and the Player of the Year, they get recognized by the whole company. They get a little sponsorship going on for them.
And what about sales promotions?
Sales promotions in the UK, Gatorade actually used reward systems.
And do you guys use any direct marketing or
Direct-
personal selling?
Direct marketing for the personal selling. A little bit. They actually have a special team that monitors what people say about the product in social media, such as Facebook or Twitter. This allows for a two-way conversation in between Gatorade and their customers.
Okay, and do you guys use any direct marketing?
They only sell direct marketing to customers online. Other than that, Gatorade sells to intermediaries in all the usual cases, what they rely on the most to get their product out.
Okay, and why do you use these strategies?
Gatorade has been in the market for many years and has grown to be the superior company in the sports drinks market. These promotional strategies have given Gatorade a great share of the sports drink market. So, that's why.
Do you guys use any emerging technologies to communicate with your customers?
As I actually mentioned before, they have a special team that monitors what people say in Facebook and Twitter. They can learn how the product can be improved to satisfy their customers, and allows for a greater degree of communication between the customers and the company.
Okay, and could you guys be doing anything differently?
The excellence of Gatorade's marketing effort is portrayed by their domination of the U.S. sports drink market, where the nearest competitor has about 10% of the overall market share.
So you guys are going to be continuing to do the same thing?
I'm pretty sure we will.
Okay, well thank you very much, Cesar.